What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind upon the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Tell the Truth, episode 46, man. Good to be in the building after the Chiefs absolutely stomp out the New Orleans Saints on Sunday Night Football in front of a raucous Arrowhead crowd. Taylor Swift was in the building. Juju Smith-Schuster was in the building. Colin Saunders was in the building, and we saw him run with the football because we always wanted to see that. And unfortunately, it happened while he was on defense against us.
I'm Binky, man.
Sir Binky.
I'm Binky, man. Out of all the players to get intercepted by Binky,
Bruh, I was sitting next to his mom during that, bro. She was laughing so hard, bro. That was so funny.
that was like the most massive. Tyrann Mathieu, I would have been able to take. Even if Willie Gay would have had played, cool. But Binky,
so funny, bro. That's hilarious.
It's even funnier that it was set up by the fact that he knew they were doing the underhand pitch to Travis Kelce the play before. He completely blew that up.
He's like,
which then queued up the Taylor Swift, Colin Saunders brother whole rabbit hole, which then queued up the interception, man. They had to go off of Juju Smith-Schuster.
There he is.
The only bad play that Juju had the entire night. Right into Colin Saunders' hand. Made a nice one-hand interception, stiff-armed his own player. Patrick Mahomes wanted no parts of trying to tackle him, given what happened the last time he tried to tackle a defender. And then Colin Saunders was, get the high and tight, baby, right here, all the way down the field.
If you go back and watch that play on replay, watch Xavier Worthy. It is
he tried so hard to hit the ball out. It was like a little fly trying to hit a net. He swung and Colin was like, bro, who that? He kept on going.
And Colin looked like
they kept on going. He tried as hard as he's like, I'm gonna get
it. And then they met him and Creed. The way Creed fell was just hilarious because I'm actually glad he didn't fall on Xavier because I thought
it looked scary for a second.
Yeah, it looked scary for a second.
We don't
but yeah.
They tried his hardest. He didn't even do nothing.
Hey,
he legitimately did not do anything. Xavier Worthy just tried to punch it out and then bounced off of him.
Look at Creed. Look at Creed. Creed, the way he fell, bro, looked just it looked bad.
Creed was like, oh
no.
Oh no.
And then I don't.
The way he's tumbling is killing me. Like, I'm so happy he didn't hurt Xavier, but Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I'm glad he didn't come down on X because if he would have, boy, that's about 300 pounds of just.
Boy, Zay tried his hardest. Look at this. He was hustling.
I mean, so we got Jawan Taylor executing the best block he had of the night there. That's a great job on that. Saunders trying to stiff arm Jonathan Abram. Xavier Worthy bouncing off and Creed taking him out. People just falling all over the place. He fell for no reason. Tootie got to die.
Look, I know Pat was probably thanking heavens for Joe Tooney on that play.
He really was.
There's no way. There's no way Pat was about to tackle him.
He would have hit him with something mean, boy.
Yeah, there was no way Pat was about to tackle him.
Hey, Pat was trying to be a matador right there. He's like, I'm just playing center field here. I'm just trying to discourage anything, okay? I'm not trying to hit you.
Go to the crib. That's all.
That boy was gonna do the Roethlisberger trip. I would have tripped his ass. That's what I would have done. Would have dug my foot out. I don't care. I'll take the penalty.
Flag. Okay.
Flag me. Shoot.
You ain't scoring. Shit me.
Would have tripped. For sure.
Oh, hit him with the Olay.
Ain't tackling him, man. Come on, dog.
It's bad. So obviously that was the funniest moment of the night, I suppose, outside of any time in which Derek Carr had the blitz coming after him. It looked like he was.
You mean the first drive?
Internally. But yeah, so the Chiefs obviously go out there. In a game that looked like it might get closer than it needed to and was within 3 in the fourth quarter when it really shouldn't have been within 3 in the fourth quarter, but still was within 3 in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs end up getting what was in the end a handy win, or a double-digit win, which is nice. I don't even know how to say it because it rarely happens.
Comfortable win. We covered the spread.
Yeah, comfortable win. That's much better. And the Chiefs win 26-13. Derek Carr did end up getting hurt later in the game, and it seems like he may be out of from that standpoint.
Oblique injury.
Chiefs fans.
It's ironic. Last drive, DG. The last drive.
Just a general question. General question.
A little sus.
Is he really hurt?
A little sus to me.
That's the question that a lot of Saints fans are asking, and then there's another subsect of Saints fans that are saying, "I hope so." So you take that for what it is.
Look, bro,
it's a Rattler season.
It was real convenient that man waited until the last drive of the game was like.
He's like, "Hey, yo, for the trainer, hey, I'm done.
I don't want to play no more."
They got it. He said, if they don't score right here, I'll go back in. If they score, I ain't playing. He said, y'all got it. Right. That's what he said.
Look, Arrowhead love to see Derek Carr.
Oh yeah, bro.
He is terrible.
And I know Derek Carr hate to see Arrowhead coming.
Derek Carr hate to see an Arrowhead coming, boy.
Like I think he's 1 for 10 now. I think all time in Arrowhead.
Something crazy. Outside that roundabout year, the only year.
Bro, in the 1 year he beat us in there was no fans in the stadium.
Yeah, it was COVID.
It was COVID. So he was happy that day. He was like, "Oh,
I ain't gotta hear nothing.
I ain't gotta hear nothing.
Why they say hear everything now?"
Nah, man. Shout out to the defense last night, man. They once again, man, they put it on them, dog. Like they
elite.
It was. I never felt real nervous
at all.
At all. Even when the game was kind of close, I was like, the Saints just can't. They can't move the ball.
It's Derek Carr, bro.
Derek
Carr is not gonna beat you.
Outside of I think maybe 2 drives where they really, the one drive they had the bomb, of course, to Shaheed, which I expect them to, to kind of get away with. Brian could have played that a lot better. But then the other drive they kind of methodically went down the field and scored with their time. But just outside of that, like they couldn't run the ball. Derek Carr didn't look comfortable. Olave was a no-show pretty much. Like I really thought, that we would, I really thought that they would get him involved a lot more. But
it's like
I guess we had the clamps on him.
Seatbelt.
Not allowed to do anything for real. All in all, man, I think it was another masterclass from Steve Spagnuolo, just putting another quarterback in just hell and making him deal with it for 60 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did start out as we kind of expected it to. The same way that the Chiefs always play Derek Carr is heat him up and send extra pressure. And it kind of started out with this 1st and 10 once they got over the 50-yard line. Go ahead.
Crazy. I'm doing it in double coverage. He's so stupid. And then B make a cook. Great play, B Cook. I was standing next to his mom too. She was very nice.
That was a very good interception there. And look, you speak about Chris Olave. Chris Olave is wide open right here. He could have got that ball out. But
look, doing it in double coverage.
The crazy part is like I wasn't surprised by this because he's done this before against us, and I don't get it. I don't understand
forcing the ball.
What it is about us when he plays, but he just goes brain dead when he plays us.
You can't think that.
And this was one of those brain. I know Dennis Allen had to be just furious about this play because it's just.
And I believe that AK.
There's no reason you should do this.
Hey, bro, he had time. AK picked up George, so there's no reason to rush. Like he could have stepped up and threw it to Chris Olave for a first down right here.
No, he seen George Karlaftis coming. He
said, "Ooh, that right there, that right." I don't know if I can actually. I'm not gonna be able to zoom in, but that right there is the face of a man that he sees nothing but red 56 about to kill him.
he don't trust.
He wanted no parts of it.
He said, "No, I'm cool." Try to throw it
and
away.
That is a heck of an interception by Brian Cook.
Yeah, hell of
a catch.
So that was indicative of pretty much the entire night. The secondary part of it was the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs continued their streak of being able to shut down whatever the top running back is that they faced. Obviously, Alvin Kamara had gotten off to a really good start to start the year. Was able to get some things done in the pass game, but ultimately did nothing in the rush game, which was the more important part of being able to, obviously contain this Saints attack from the standpoint. Whenever you go out there against a really good running back and give up only 26 yards on 11 carries, that's doing your job to an exceptional level, to say the least. So shout out to the Chiefs defense in general, but particularly their run defense. Got Mike Dana back, who had some really good plays off the edge as well throughout the game. And kept doing amazing work. The one thing I did also want to highlight, which was a part of kind of the snap counts afterwards, Tershawn Wharton played, I think, over 75% of the snaps. Derek Notting and Mike Pennell did not play that many snaps, which I think is really good for Mike Pennell's sake to keep his legs a little bit fresher as you go throughout the year. We know he's got some extra miles on his body. But also, Tershawn Wharton is just playing at a high level where he's the main guy on the interior next to Chris Jones. Yeah, and he's getting it done in the run game because he's stout at the point of attack. He's getting done in the pass game, and you got to give him a lot of credit coming back from that ACL. From 2 years ago, seems like he's fully back and even taking steps ahead of where he left off. Certainly, a few years ago, to say the least. Anybody else on the defense you guys want to highlight before we go and flip to the other side of the ball as far as the effort versus Saints is concerned?
Jalen Watson again.
CB2, saying this every week.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't hear your name a lot, and then you make one or two plays as far as, and I think they went down the field on him towards the kind of end of the game, but he was hip pocket right there, running stride for stride. I think with Olave as well too. Yeah, man, just CB2, man. He's definitely proven that he can handle that role. And I kind of feel good because I said it all off season that, he could be the guy. He had the most experience, I felt like, as far as the levels that he played in college. I also got to give a shout out to Najee Johnson as well too, man. Najee is definitely taken, I feel like, over that CB3 kind of role. That Josh Williams, that you thought Josh Williams was kind of going to be in, but you can clearly see Najee starting to get back healthy again. He's playing a lot of really good ball. He had some really good snaps out there. Didn't hear his name a lot, so that was good as too. But yeah, man, all in all, the defense all together is playing lights out. I feel like they're playing. This is the best I've probably seen them play as a whole complete unit. Pass defense, rush defense, the defensive line to the linebackers. Man, it's been flowing, man. God, linebackers are allowed to play downhill as much. Nick Bolton was everywhere.
That was my guy.
Yeah,
With Nick Bolton. A lot of plays in the backfield.
Yeah, he was everywhere. Him and Drew and Chanel, all those guys.
There's a reason man. AK only had 25 yards. Well, I remember 2 plays he had a toss, and obviously Alvin Kamara is a very explosive running back, one of the fastest guys in the league, and Nick Bolton was beating him to the spot, and that's just recognition. That's more so not even just pure athleticism, because we know Nick Bolton is the most fleet of footbacker. But if you can recognize formation, down and distance, and recognize tendencies and offenses, I can beat you to the spot before you even get to make a play for yourself. So I'm sure this is one of them that D-Max pulling up now. Nick Bolton's obviously one of the most instinctive players in the league, but when you can shoot gaps like this, bro, there's nothing you can do as an offensive player. He knows what you're doing before you even call him. It's like he's in the huddle. So when you can think things like that, that's why this defense is, I think we're number 2 right now. I think we were going into the game, we were number 2 in rushing yards per game. Now we're probably number 1, but we've been top 3 all year. When you have play recognition like this, and you get guys eating up their gaps, and Nick Bolton shooting the gap perfectly before the ball's even snapped, he already know where it's going. There's nothing you can do as an offensive coordinator. You can't run the ball. You can't get a momentum going. You can't play action. Center had no chance. Beat him before he even tried to get a step, and then he flexed because he know what time it is. Like, I knew that play before I even ran it. So if you can do that in the meeting, you're beating this team in the meeting rooms and film room during practice film during the week before you even get to the game on Monday night. They already know what time it is. So when you have players like this playing at this high of a level, this defense, and we know SPAC defenses always get better towards the end of the year. So if this defense is playing like this now, and they can tell they made an emphasis because I remember last year I think we were 30th in the league against rushing yards per game. So that was one of the main focuses of us during training camp and in the offseason. But if we're playing like this now against the run, fellas, and against the pass, imagine how we're going to be in November, December when we know SPAC defenses always hit their stride and get rolling and start playing at an even higher level than they are now. This defense can do everything they want to do from last year to this point, and we're going to get Charles Omenihu back. Other guys are going to be more involved. We expect Jaden Hicks to be more involved in the defense as well. The defense could be really scary and could be another unit that's going to carry us and help us win a lot of ball games, just like last year for sure.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm glad you pointed out Nick Bolton specifically. Again, had a continued to have another really good game, specifically from the aspect of being able to shoot those gaps, being strong against the run. And that particular play I did want to put up there because he did have the ability to really affect what was there. I mean, that was an excellent – that we lost DG. That was an excellent, though, run stuff, to say the least. He completely jumped the snap, knew exactly where the ball was coming, forced AK to move outside, and then finish the play on top of it. So definitely another really good Nick Bolton game. Linebackers did fine. I think obviously Leo Chanel got beat on a touchdown, but that's one of those things where he's just a little bit out of position.
In the backfield, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to happen every once in a while, and sometimes it's okay. Again, ultimately speaking, you give up 13 points to this team, and some of that obviously was off the turnover, so it was a quick change from that standpoint too. So I personally think that defense excellent. Once again, they did what they were supposed to versus the Saints defense. And I'll give a quick shout out here because this was one of those where George Karlaftis did have a nice play, specifically on another deep shot that Derek Carr kind of threw up into double coverage, really triple coverage on Shaheed going down the seam. But Karlaftis got around the edge there, forced the throw, and obviously Brian Cook wasn't able to come up with that interception. But I mean, George Karlaftis, I think, has been maybe a little bit better at being able to affect the quarterback. I think both him and Dana have still not been great as far as pass rush is concerned. Even though Karlaftis did get that quarterback hit there, I think that there's a lot of room to grow. And ultimately speaking, 5 weeks in, week 6 bye, now we are in the range in which the Charles Omenihu comes back into the picture of where he can be back to this team and really help out. Of course, he's been treating, he's been getting on that bike, getting ready. And so that is that last kind of piece when you talk about obviously what the run defense has done and you talk about going into later on in the year and Spag's game planning and things of that nature. We know that that's going to add on. But to me, Charles Omenihu is that final piece to really take this team over the top as far as a defensive impact or performance can go, because that's when you really start to affect the quarterback and you add in what he can do, what Tershawn Ward and Chris Jones have been doing on the inside, which that Steve Spagnuolo brings on the blitz. And if you get better play from Mike Dana and George Karlaftis on the stretch, then you're talking about really being able to affect the quarterback in multiple different ways and limit what the offense can do against you guys. So excited to get Omenihu back and another really good performance from the defense that to this point has simply been stout and supplemented what the offense can do and really led the charge as far as that's concerned from that aspect as well. Speaking of which, it was turn back the clock night for the Chiefs.
2017?
It felt like it, man. It felt like it, man. We got first drive with some vintage Travis Kelce. Oh, geez. There we go. All right. First drive with some vintage Travis Kelce, with some vintage Juju Smith-Schuster, was a Kareem Hunt touchdown run to finish it off, man. Mahomes scramble where he went Air Jordan, which was very fun. It was everything under the sun. I don't know where to start as far as the positives are concerned. I'll let you guys go ahead and lead it off, but I feel like we just got to talk about some guys coming back to Kansas City and making some plays.
Some of the boys turned back that clock last night. I ain't gonna lie. I had Juju on my ticket to get 25 yards. I didn't think he was gonna get no 130, gang. That kind of shocked me. I mean, obviously we know he works middle of the field. Obviously we know he's very secure. Hashtag Juju catches everything. We started that 2 years ago when he first came here. So we know he's a very secure receiver. Pat trusts him. He knows where to be and how to be on time and on target. But when you have plays like that and he's getting the volume, that was the kind of shocking part to me. He got the volume and he kept making play after play. And obviously, like the most explosive play he had was when he ran a motion, ran a dig, and Tyrann Mathieu, of all people, slipped and fell. And Juju caught it and ran 60 yards down the field, which that was the biggest play to help him get over 100 yards like that, which is hilarious that you couldn't write that script. But overall, to see guys obviously to show that they can still play. I know Patriots fans are sick. They told us he was run. I thought his knee was done. I thought there was a reason why he was. They didn't bring him back. But obviously, when he can come in here on a short day's notice, he's only been here since we signed him literally right before the season started. To get 130 yards off the back is crazy. Kareem Hunt, literally what we saw that last week versus the Chargers on the road looked like vintage Kareem, and what we saw last night looked like the rookie Kareem that we got out of Toledo, the guy that everybody fell in love with. He looked like the old 2-7. So if he's running like that on short notice, not even really having fully engagement with the offense, no training camp, I couldn't imagine what he's going to do after a bye, 14 days, to get more influence with this team, to get more in tune with the chemistry. Pat and Andy going to cook up more plays for him. He'll get his body rested as well. This team is only going to get better as the season goes on. So I'm super excited what the offense did. Everybody got involved. Everybody made plays, from Noah Gray, the Juju Smith-Schuster. Miko had a couple touches here and there. Trav was vintage Trav. Carson Steele made a couple plays and had some first downs as well. Samaje was our veteran savvy to come in and make plays on third down. Shout out to Trav with the pitch back to Samaje as well, who he said he had no idea he was going to do that. He just says when Trav has the ball, you just have to be ready because he does it a lot in practice. So that was good to see guys that kind of know he's probably going to do it. And thank God it didn't get called back, knock on wood. But overall, man, the offense did everything they were supposed to do. You can nitpick as far as like a couple false starts, a couple holding penalties. And as far as holding penalties, I'm never going to get mad when you're holding to protect 15. I'm never going to get mad about that. I would much rather get a penalty than see 15 get hit any day of the week. So I know it sucks. We don't ever want to go from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 10 to 3rd and 15. But if it's protecting in 1-5, man, I'm always for it. So because he scrambles and he runs, being a tackle in the Chiefs offense is literally the hardest job in the NFL. Because Pat runs around so much, he extends so many plays. You don't know where he's at because you're blind to him. You guys just have to have a sixth sense and kind of feel where he's going. So Jawan Taylor and obviously Wanye and Kingsley kind of had a little bit of split snaps yesterday because Wanye went out early and Kingsley came in, and then Wanye came back at the start of the second half. But those guys did an amazing job, and obviously they want to critique their technique as well. But overall, I can't give too many issues when you're running for 100 yards on the ground. So overall, the offense did amazing. Just finished the touchdowns in the red zone. That's the kind of the theme we've been saying all year. We move the ball in between the 20s all game. We got to score. Butker getting a lot of kicks, which is great. He's arguably the best in the league, but we have to finish these drives with touchdowns when we want to beat the good teams. But overall, offense did everything we wanted them to do, man. Move the ball, explosive plays downfield, got Xavier Worthy involved. We got him a touchdown. Travis got plenty of volume early out the gate. I think his first 3 targets were in that first drive. So anytime you get 87 going, that just sets the tone for everyone else. So I was very pleased with what we did yesterday.
Sorry, Fernando Tatis just
boy, they giving Walker Buehler hell right now.
DG, what I say?
Fernando Tatis just hit a bomb, dog.
And he watched that tank go. My goodness. Woo-wee.
DG, what I tell you, bro? I told you I took
my bad, yo. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
DG, he getting smacked up. He getting smacked up right now.
I did want to highlight real quick because I think he deserves a shout out because on this play, Carson Steele does make a really 2 good blocks to open up the lane for Xavier Worthy to get into the end zone. And there's talk, obviously, we see what Kareem Hunt was able to do, rushing for over 100 yards, and I think he deserves his flowers for doing so and being the best healthy back that they have. But shout out to Carson Steele, not complaining, taking whatever role does come to him, not folding over the fumble or, really what was a messed up trick play later on in the game as well. But going in there, and sticking his nose in there and getting 2 blocks to be able to get Xavier Worthy into the end zone. I think that was key as well. But yeah, I mean, the other thing to talk about is really Juju from my perspective. But DG, go ahead if you had something to highlight from the offense first, and then I'll get to Juju.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and simple. Man, I felt like going into the game last night, really didn't know where this offense was kind of gonna go, especially with the loss of Rashee Rice. But man, they came out and just bludgeoned the Saints like to death. Kareem Hunt looked great, and his second game pretty much looked like his old self. A little bit of that juice in LA the previous week, but last night you could clearly tell he's back and he's very highly motivated at this point. I think I heard a quote on the radio earlier that he told Andy Reid that you won't regret this, especially this time around. So you can clearly tell he loves being back here, especially playing behind this line. I'll say the one thing I took away from the offense was Xavier Worthy's an issue, and he's going to be an issue.
The ball.
Yeah. As much as I know a lot of people say, well, he only had 3 catches for 25 yards.
That lets you know.
he opens a lot for this offense. The Saints defense was terrified of him going deep on them, of his speed and what he could do over the top. You could clearly tell that by how wide open the middle of the field was. Like Trav and Juju and Noah and Jody Fortson and all those guys was just eating up over the middle of the field, man. Like it was great to see. I thought Andy really was, uh, which was kind of crazy to be this early in the season, but kind of in his bag as far as personnel and who to put out there and the game plan that they were kind of going with. The 14 personnel was wild to see 4 tight ends.
Evil genius.
Yeah, it was crazy. Jody Fortson brings a lot back to this team. I feel like he kind of gives them that bigger receiver kind of type that they need at this point. Plus, I know Pat trusts him. May not go to him, a lot or often, but you can clearly tell 1 or 2 plays they can put their trust in Jody Fortson. And I think they're also starting to trust Noah Gray a lot more with some of these routes that they tend to give Trav at points in times and stuff like that. He's getting open. And, man, I haven't seen that guy drop a ball at all. So keep throwing him the ball, keep getting him open, keep looking for him. Offensive line played great. I felt like, especially in the run game, they were just highly more physical than the Saints were. Did a good job, I feel like, in protection. Pat looked a lot more comfortable last night than he did, in previous weeks. I can kind of tell that trust is starting to come back. Kind of horrible to see Wanye go down, but then great to see him be able to come back, fight back, and get back into the game. And you can tell it helps. He's been really playing well for these last 3 weeks now, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, really proud of him at this point. So, yeah, the offense they were great, man. Especially moving the ball. Just got to finish drives. Get down into the red zone. For the life of me, stop being so cute sometimes, man. Just run the damn ball down. Let's just if you're gonna beat a team up between the 20s, why not just do it in the red zone too? Like, I don't get it. And the pass to Juju, I understand he's got to catch it or whatever, but they look like an RPO to me. So Pat had an option to either pass it off or whatever. Just Kareem had a lane. Joe Tooney was pulling. It was right there, man. Like they weren't gonna stop it at this point. But it is what it is. You turn the ball over. Binky gets the interception, and it didn't hurt him too much. But at the same time, felt like the game plan was executed perfectly, and hopefully they keep that kind of same cohesion throughout the bye week and still try to improve on some things as well too. So that was my thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we I was a little bit interested that they did run some of the 14 personnel sets. I think there was a short pass to Kelce. Kelce caught another one, and then there might have been 3. And then I think there was a run to Carson Steele as well mixed in there. But I was happy to see the 14 personnel sets because it's just a funky look to be able to throw in there. We know Fortson and Kelce are wide receiver S level, type of actual threats receiving the ball. We haven't seen much from Jared Wiley, but we know that Noah Gray presents some challenges as well. It just puts defenses into a bind, something that they aren't used to being able to guard against. And so I was personally happy to see them be able to go out there and use it effectively from that standpoint. But I will say that the other thing that obviously needs to be highlighted is the fact that Juju was able to have a turn back the clock night, having over 130 yards, which is kind of crazy. Not able
first time since 2018.
Looking like young Juju, rookie Juju.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
2018 one.
Boy, Big Ben was still playing football.
AB was still in the league.
Antonio Brown was all pro.
AB was still in the league.
Le'Veon Bell was still in the league, ladies and gentlemen. Long time ago.
So he joined Rashee Rice as the only wide receivers to go over 130 yards since Tyreek Hill was traded for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Work.
And they used him. They used him like Rashee Rice. They have him on these short little screens. They kind of had him in chip and then kind of released help as well. He got the nice little corner route. Obviously, we saw the deep dig after 2 clear routes kind of ahead of him, in which he actually made Tyrann Mathieu fall there very quickly. And then we saw the underneath stuff as well. And they tried to use him on the slant. Obviously, he wasn't able to convert on that. But you know, the reality situation is they're going to need to continue to use Juju effectively because they need his zone beating ability. And again, we kind of talked about their stuff with Xavier Worthy that was a nice play design, specifically being able to ship and then release. Yep. And that they just didn't kind of account for him in that case. I mean, usually you see him kind of, or you see the tight ends kind of run that type of route where they chip kind of a little bit, and then I'm going to release out. But a lot of patience for Juju to just find the little soft spot in the zone and be able to sit down. And that's his best weapon right now to help out this team from the standpoint. But as Xavier Worthy continues to clear out, as this run game is extremely effective in affecting defenses, they need Juju to continue to have these types of games in addition to what Travis Kelce brings to the table, of course. But
you see the savviness on this play, how he ran. Most receivers would have just ran downfield or ran out of bounds. Self-awareness to know where you're at. He was looking at Pat, ran down the field, relocated, got his eyes back connected with him, and then he got toe tapped and obviously catch on the sideline. That's a very savvy play. A lot of people don't notice, but a lot of younger players would have ran out of bounds, and Pat would have never had an opportunity to get that first down. So this is a very heads-up play by Juju.
Awareness of space.
Sit. He starts to run downfield to make the DB back up, sit again. I love that.
Kind of said it last week, and I think he kind of exceeded my expectations. I said that he could be a poor man's Rashee Rice at this point. And he he clearly proved that wrong.
I mean, he's basically doing
130 yards.
First year. Yeah, like
it is a poor man's Rashee Rice, and that's not an insult because Rashee Rice was performing like one of the best wide receivers in the league. Yeah, but it's just a little bit less yak. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit less yak, less explosiveness, but the effectiveness can still be extremely high because of the qualities that he shares with Rashee Rice. Strength, being able to catch the ball on a consistent basis. We saw him make that sliding catch that was incredibly impressive. And being able to find that feel for his zones and be able to put himself in position where specifically Patrick Mahomes expects him to be and make those catches. So
everything he did yesterday is not really like a shocker. Like that's Juju in a nutshell from Pittsburgh to his first year here with us. We know what he can do. The biggest thing we doubted was can he do it for long periods of time? Because he left, we thought his knee injury was the biggest thing holding him back. Now, obviously, he cleared protocol because they brought him back for a reason, so they obviously thought he was healthy. But him making plays like this, running a dig route and getting yards at the catch, he did this 2 years ago with us when he made the plays in the Super Bowl. So none of these plays are really shockers. It's just I didn't know how long he was going to be able to sustain this type of energy throughout a game. And for you to get 130 yards, clearly he's in good shape and clearly he's ready to roll. So, yeah, I'm just glad to see him healthy because when he's on the field, and it does kind of suck that Rashee Rice had to go down because, like you said, if he's a poor Rice, Rashee Rice, those two together would have been crazy in the middle of the field. So I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he had a good game. And he even said it after the game. He said, bro, I feel like I'm 21 again. So whatever health that Rick Bueller's working, it's working, baby. Because if Juju's feeling young and he's feeling spry and healthy, I'm with it. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, look, they just got to be careful about his workload because you can't lose him at this point from the standpoint of you brought him back, and this again is that was a crazy catch.
It's sliding.
That's insane concentration. Flowers to Brett Veach for bringing him back from the standpoint and securing the depth in the room. And that you lose a Rashee Rice and you have a guy that steps in with similar skill sets to go out there and still make an impact. And again, that's credit. But now, obviously, with Rashee Rice gone for the season, more on Juju Smith-Schuster, and that kind of gets into what you're able to do from a wide receiver perspective to help out. And going into the bye week, that's something that's going to be talked about, to say the least, a lot. But before we get into that aspect of it, before we get into that aspect of it, we do have to talk about kind of the interaction between Mahomes and the offensive line and kind of the issues that we saw. Offensive line giving up pressures. Obviously, DG alluded to Wanya Morris kind of going through some issues. Obviously getting hurt at one point, getting beat for the sack later on. I think it was maybe middle of the game as well. Jawan Taylor having holding penalties as well. We saw the one false start too. So inconsistent play from the offensive line to this point. We saw it last week versus the Chargers, in which they had a really good pass rush playing, and the offensive line gave up a lot of pressure, to be honest with you. This week was it wasn't as dire as far as the pressure was concerned, but not as, clean of a game as you would have wanted from that standpoint. So talk to me, guys, about the offensive line, the trust factor for Patrick Mahomes behind this offensive line, and how you guys feel about it.
I feel like it's probably at like a 75% for Pat right now. You could tell it's not clearly all the way there just yet. There are points in times where you see Pat kind of getting a little bit of happy feet, just knowing that previous downs he hasn't had that much time to kind of operate and look down the field. So yes, I feel like it's still a work in progress at this point, which is good because it's still early in the season. Still a lot of football left to be played. As long as I feel like those guys can stay healthy at this point, it'll get better as the season kind of goes on, as they kind of get more cohesion and more reps together. And I feel like I'm okay with how they play in the passing game if they're going to block like that in the run game. When you can, like I said, when you can bludgeon a team to death running the ball like that, and Kareem they were literally imposing their will on them. I know some of the runs weren't huge explosive runs, but when you're getting 3-4 yards, and making it second and manageable, third and manageable. I think we were probably in third and long maybe once or twice last night.
Not that much. Yep.
But not as many times. So when you're doing things like that, I can live with you, giving up a play or two here. As far as
it was that 5,000 cuts. Honestly, his longest
pressure.
run was 8 yards. Yeah, Kareem was just 5 yards here, 6 yards there, 5 yards here. I think he had at least like 5 or 6 runs that went for first down. Same thing with Carson Steele. So when you're that efficient in the run game, the passing game, I think Justin Reed had an interview today he did with Kay Adams on the show, and she was asking him, you knew Mahomes was going to eventually get back to being himself and having big games and throwing for a lot of yards. And he said it's inevitable. So that's why when we talk about the issues with us not scoring in the red zone, the passing game not being, or the pass blocking of our offense not being at elite, we know it's going to get fixed. It's a long season, 17 weeks. We're in week 5. Obviously, we're going into the bye now, so we got a lot more football left. So if we can run the football, which is obviously out of all the things we critiqued about our offense during the Mahomes era, running the football has been the biggest one by far, because we never worry about the passing game, because that's going to figure itself out. Like it's inevitable. It's going to happen. If we can run the football at a high clip and be efficient and short yardage, like DG said, you can just tell like the savviness that Kareem Hunt has. When he gets through the hole, he'll turn his shoulders and slide through a hole sideways and avoid a defender to go get a first down. He just runs at a different type of savviness that I love Pacheco, but DG said it last week. He just has a better vision, a better feel when he's running through the holes. Not to say Pacheco's not a good runner. He is. It's just a different type of savviness that Kareem Hunt has, and the reason why we fell in love with him back in 2017. So if you add that type of running back to this backfield, and when we do get Pacheco back, we've always been a good running football team in the playoffs in the last couple of years. If we can add this dominance and this versatility in our running game and our running backs, it can be very scary for us in January for sure when we do get fully healthy and get our guys included and everybody back rolling. So I love what we're doing so far in the run game, like DG said. I'm not really tripping on the passing game and the penalties. I don't care. You protect Pat at all costs. Run the football when you have to, especially in short yards, which we've been great at the last 2 weeks. We're only going to get better. And Kareem's been doing a great job. He doesn't even have a fully understanding of the offense yet. So imagine where he's going to be with a week off. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm in kind of a similar place where it's like, I know the bones of the offense right now are still good. I think the offensive line will continue to improve, whether that's more just Wanya Moore's play. People are going to continue to harp on Jawan Taylor's penalties. I understand. It's tough. You're going to have a holding penalty every once in a while. It's every offensive line. Whereas Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, or Trey Smith, we've seen all three of those guys have holding penalties every once in a while. That's the reality of the situation. Jawan Taylor's been playing when he's actually blocked, like one of the best right tackles in the NFL. That's continued. I'm not going to, go away from that. I think he's fine. You're going to have to deal with 1 to 2 false starts a game. Sorry, reality situation. Guess what? When this offense is doing what it needs to, we can erase those types of things as well. And that's where it kind of is like, it's a difficult situation without Rashee Rice. Obviously, Hollywood Brown hopefully will be a thing that you can get back later on in the season. But this is a team that has the elements it needs. It has the ability to run the ball on a consistent basis. It has Travis Kelce to use. It has Xavier Worthy to create plays to. And honestly, there's a lot more plays to still find. And I think that Mahomes with a bye week to kind of be able to reset and look over the film and figure out how to attack from that standpoint will help in that aspect too. Juju obviously being there with the zone coverage, we know, or being able to attack zone coverage, we know what Justin Watson brings to the table as well. And the reality situation is that if this team wants to go out and add a wide receiver, I think that would still make a lot of sense. And ultimately, I feel good about where the offense is. I think the offensive line will be fine and will continue to get better as the season goes on. And ultimately speaking, as long as this team doesn't, knock on wood, have any more significant injuries, we should be fine moving forward from that aspect. Oh man, Jesus.
But healthy, man. That's all it is. We gotta stay healthy.
Well, to be fair, we all felt Taylor when she said that I'm going to kill myself after the interception.
She said it's on video, bro. She's funny, bro. It's on video. Taylor was so mad.
It took her a year to get as invested in this as we are. She is one of us.
And a couple of those penalties by Juwan, I want to say, D-Mac, when you're rolling, Pat's a right-handed quarterback. So if I'm rolling to my right, most of the penalties or most of the pressure is going to come from his side. So if there's between Pat getting hit or him grabbing a defender, I don't want Pat to get hit. Obviously, there's not going to be as many going to the left because Pat's a right-handed quarterback. So they're going to flush him. Obviously, if I'm a defender, I'm going to try to flush him to the left, but Pat likes to escape to his right side. So obviously, Juwan's trying to block and keep his defender in front of him. He's playing a mirror game. When he sees Pat running, he has a choice. Either let him go or hold him. So it is what it's a give and take, like D-Mac said. You just have to live with it. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that I think Andy, the only one that he was probably really upset with him is I think Juwan had a false start in the red zone area, and it's just you can't do that down there. Like, especially when we're about to score. Like, I think Andy was a little, you can tell, a little pissed off about that one. But I agree with CJ, man. When it comes to protecting Pat, do whatever you got to do. Keep 15 clean. You got to hold a guy. You got to choke slam a guy, whatever.
It is what it is.
I don't care. I think the false starts. To me, it's still at kind of a ref's discretion. You can clearly tell the refs are still being adamant about making that call, and that's something that they've been adamant about the last year and a half now or whatever. So they've been consistent with it. I can't blame them, at this point. But I just think that when it comes to playoff time,
hold that whistle a little bit, just a little bit.
That whistle might get swallowed just a little bit. Just because they don't, they don't really want to dictate the game or kind of let the players decide what's going to happen out there. So I wouldn't be too eerily frustrated about it. It is what it is. At this point, he's not the only tackle in this league that's getting called for it right now.
Trust that.
If you really watch some of these other games,
boy,
they're calling it on everybody, especially illegal formation and how guys are lining up or whatever. So it's being called league wide at this point or whatever. It's just something that Juwan, I think, has to be cognitive of to make sure that scale it back a little bit. But, other than that, that's all I have to say.
No, it's certainly a fair point all around. I mean, I hope that this team can stay healthy on the offensive side because they can't really afford to have any other injuries, man. It's very difficult. But I did want to say real quick
right now, fellas. Prayer circle right now.
Prayer circle.
Father God, please protect our team. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please,
God. Amen. I did also want to say Kareem Hunt's running style, I agree. Him leaving his feet is slightly annoying, I'll say. But to your point, the vision aspect, finding those little creases to be able to move the chains and get extra yards, been incredibly effective. And shout out to Kareem Hunt, man. Being able to have a guy that knows how to play the running back position, knows how to be effective as a runner, it's certainly been extremely important for how we've been able to move the ball in general. And yes, Andy Reid was very upset about that holding call, to say the least. Oh yeah,
what the?
Hit him with this.
You see that man? It ain't nothing like getting that scowl from your coach. It's like, boy, I
Boy, why I on? Yeah.
My foot on your John Brown hind parts.
Hey, coach, get so mad he don't know your name. Get over here. You know your name. Come here.
Get your ass.
Get him out of here.
Who is he?
2 seconds later, get back in there. You're like, you were just yelling at me. Get back in there. The life of a player, boy. Coaches like this.
Mm-hmm. But yes, so moving on to outside of just what the game was last night, specifically about wide receiver. Obviously, we got the news that Rashee Rice is going to have his LCL repaired. They don't know to what extent fully yet, but they do expect that it will come also with some hamstring damage as well. So ultimately speaking, good news on the positive side, as you know, there was a whole tweet storm that went through it yesterday. God bless Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, of course, that talked about how it was a little bit of better news. Did not involve any ACL damage, did not involve meniscus, PCL, any cartilage injury from that standpoint. And that's good news. All things considered, those things are more significantly debilitating to his long-term aspect. If this, repair goes as planned, Rashee Rice should be back ready for the entirety of the offseason program, which is going to be really good news for him going into what will be his third year. And hopefully he can pick up where he ended up leaving off as well. But what that does leave is a hole, I would say, on the wide receiver depth chart. Again, we talked about the effectiveness of Juju. We talked about Xavier Worthy hopefully getting more plays in the meantime. But still, I think we all agree we could still add a wide receiver impact. So I'm going to take Devontae Adams off the table for obvious reasons because he's a Raider, and the Raiders probably aren't going to trade him there. Who do you guys want to go out there and get? And let's just say the price is because we could talk about kind of some of the lesser pieces like Darius Slaytons of the world, etc., that aren't going to cost us. But let's say you have to trade your third round pick in 2025, not the Titans, your third round pick in 2025. Who are you going out and getting?
Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Easy.
Probably
I know he's
between Cooper and Johnson.
I know he's over 30, but elite route runner, a guy that's been in the league for a very long time. He's had multiple 100-yard games. A guy that's probably pissed off about the situation he's in right now. I know he probably wants to get back to a winning situation, wants to get back to a winning quarterback, most importantly. But a guy who obviously was drafted by the Raiders. In my book, he's one of the best route runners in football since he was drafted. And I think he was drafted in 2012, which is crazy to think that was 12 years ago. It was so long ago. But Amari Cooper has always been a good receiver to me. I've always respected his game. Obviously, played in Dallas for a long time, made a lot of big plays with Dak, and then obviously went to Cleveland, and I've been suffering every time he got there. But from a route running standpoint, that's a guy you don't have to teach how to play football. Obviously, any receiver we add to the room is a guy that doesn't know the playbook. But from a route running standpoint, from all the guys who we're talking about on the market who's available, he's easily the best option. I like Deontay Johnson. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Darius Slayton wouldn't be a bad deep threat as well. But I think we have those type of guys. I think we need route runners, guys that can win in the middle of the field, or mainly guys that can beat one-on-one coverage. I don't think we need guys that can necessarily beat you down the field. We have that with Justin Watson's, or if we have to use Mecole and Xavier Worthy at times, they can do the thing down the field. I want guys that can beat you off the line in one-on-one situations. And Deontay Johnson wouldn't be a bad option as well. I wouldn't be mad about that because Carolina obviously know they're not going to pay him. He's going to be gone next summer anyway. But if there's a guy I'm adding right now and I'm giving up a third or even, God forbid, a second round pick in that area for it, it's easily Amari Cooper. He's a veteran. He's been there. He's done that. He's made big plays. He knows how to get open. It's a guy you don't have to teach anything how to play football. You just got to show him the playbook. As far as beating someone one-on-one and getting open, Amari Cooper's a pro. So I would love to have him in the building for sure.
Talk a little bit, DG, about why you favor Cooper. Oh, did he freeze or was it me?
Oh, I think it was him. DG, you back? There he is. DG, what you good about Cooper?
DG, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry, my computer is having issues right now. Amari Cooper. Yeah, I feel like he could fit in this role. And the only issue that I kind of have with getting him is maybe bringing him in and having him try to learn the terminology of this offense. We know how tough it is, difficult it is to kind of come in, especially in the middle of the year, and learn Andy Reid's offense, especially as a receiver. But I do think that Andy Reid is a genius enough to bring a guy like him in and be able to get him involved and get him touches. Like CJ said, he's excellent route runner. Probably, arguably one of the best route runners this game has ever
top 5
seen.
for sure.
Yeah. So he does that. I still feel like at a very elite level. I know a lot of people question his hands at this point in time. Has had some significant drops or whatever, but every receiver at this league drops
At
the
this point,
ball.
you can't be picky, bro. We're picking at this point. So.
Career, you can't be really that picky about it. But I do believe that he gives you a significant role that you kind of need. You kind of need that X, that guy that can kind of line up on the outside and beat man-to-man coverage, especially off the line. I feel like that's something that Amari Cooper could definitely bring to this team. I still feel like a guy like Deontay Johnson is still an option for them as well too. I think he fits. To me, he kind of fits the scheme a little better, just as far as his versatility and where you can move him within the offense. Still, some of the similar issues with the drops as well and hands. I know it's probably a little bit more inconsistent than Amari Cooper at this point in his career, but I still feel like they could bring him in and really feel like Andy would really like him as a weapon, especially what he can do versatility wise. So I think both of those guys are good options at this point for you to call, and think it's at least as expensive option that you can probably go with on the team right now.
Yeah. So I agree with you guys. Like, those are the top 2 options. I actually have a little bit of a favor towards Deontay Johnson, just from the standpoint of there are traditional X wide receiver things that Cooper is better at, but I don't think that we are going to continue to use a traditional X wide receiver. I think Deontay's a little bit, more versatile from that standpoint. Again, continues to get open at one of the highest rates across the National Football League, as he has since he really entered the National Football League. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's got a little bit more juice down the field as well. So there's a little bit more versatility from that standpoint in attacking all 3 levels. So that'd be a slight favorite lean for me. And then the other name that I know, Ben Solik over there at ESPN have wrote about, Christian Kirk. To me, that's not my favorite in that aspect. I think he's an addition that would upgrade it, but he would not make the impact level that I think would be worthy of trading a day 2 pick from that standpoint. So I put him more in the Darius Slayton.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that he tore up his knee a year ago. I don't like that. I don't like trading for guys.
The financials behind it suck. The injury history kind of.
Yeah, I'm cool off that. Cool. I didn't know he was even an option. They said that, Christian Kirk.
Well, yeah. So obviously the Jaguars are going through it, to say the least. Maybe they could trade away Christian Kirk. But yeah, that's to me, it would be Deontay Johnson, but Amari Cooper certainly would be another addition. But Amari Cooper comes with the issues of what the Cleveland Browns are going to do as far as their season is concerned, and continue to try to make it work with Deshaun Watson and wanting to win ball games. And if they try to go to Jameis Winston, they have to go through that standpoint too. So it's going to be very fascinating, to say the least, from that aspect. But yeah, that is kind of what the landscape looks like as far as wide receiver trades. I think we all agree the bye week will be used to explore those even more as we get through the week, to say the least. But now, as the Chiefs are on bye week, obviously they're going in as the undefeated AFC team to this point, 5-0. Only the other undefeateds over in the NFC, the Minnesota Vikings, who beat the New York Jets into firing their head coach today. The Chiefs, kind of looking at the entirety of the NFL landscape to this point, have played the hardest schedule according to DVOA. Because that's just the reality of the situation. Starting out obviously with the Ravens and Bengals and Falcons, they put together some good games too. So that's the reality of the situation. The Chiefs have played the hardest schedule according to DVOA and still undefeated. Keep moving on. A game clear of everybody else in the AFC, with the Texans sitting there at 4-1. So I did want to bring it to everybody's attention as far as the Week 5 power rankings are concerned. We had a similar 1 through 4 from last week. I don't think anything really changed. You guys can disagree from this standpoint, but Vikings won. I think they could stay at number 1. Obviously, we did. We should stay at number 2. Lions were on a bye week, so I think that's fine to keep them there. And the Ravens, really good. I don't know, really good win, but on the road, went to the Bengals, had a complete shootout and a barn burner of a game. Yes, absolutely.
Impressive shootout.
And look, Lamar Jackson led them to a spectacular win over the Cincinnati Bengals to send them to 1-4, and certainly put their season a little bit on life support to say the least. But all that being said, let's get into the power rankings, and we started out kind of at the number 5 spot. Who do you guys feel like is worthy of that number 5 spot?
Go ahead, DJ.
The Commanders.
I said it last week. We got to put some respect on their name.
The haters can't stand us. Left hand up.
I know it's
Who are
the
we?
The
The Commanders.
I know it's the Browns, and I know Deshaun Watson sucks, but hey,
they blew them out. Like it was beat the brakes off of them. It wasn't even close.
Amari Cooper,
it wasn't even close
after the game. Y'all saw that? Amari Cooper said, "Get me out of here."
Yeah, get me out of here.
Give me the KC, please.
Can I make an alternate suggestion for the Houston Texans, given that they did beat the Buffalo Bills, who are a better team than the Cleveland Browns?
This guy wants to be
okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Living correct.
No,
I'm just saying. Okay, we'll put the Commanders at 5.
Dallas.
We want Dallas. Don't let ABC. She gonna be pissed.
Oh man, I love that. I love that.
We want Dallas.
Them haters can't stand us.
Who are we?
Hey man, things is going well in Commander Land. Jaden Daniels is playing well, running the ball well.
The rookie of the year playing well. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, like
rookie of the year types.
You kind of get them feelings. RG3, his rookie year, he was there, and they were kind of going crazy then or whatever. But yeah, shout out to Jaden Daniels, man, stepping up, playing really well. I know people probably look at their schedule and be like, "Oh, they ain't really played nobody yet." But to go on the road to beat I feel like it's still a talented Cincinnati team. Even though they got some issues right now or whatever. But to beat a talented Cincinnati team and then to really just take it to the Cleveland Browns, with arguably one of the best pass rushers in the league, and Myles Garrett on their team. And a lot of people talk highly of that Browns defense, which I still haven't seen why people talk highly of them. But, it's another story. They putting it all together at this point. Can't deny it, I love what the Texans are doing. I think they look great too, but
with one of the worst secondaries in football, if Kingsbury's protecting that ball, bro. I don't know how you doing it, but
if I told you what they 4-1 the Commanders will be 4-1.
4-1, bro.
At the beginning of the year, you would have told me I'm absolutely insane.
They would have said you're on drugs.
Yeah.
Nobody in there anybody in DC wouldn't have believed you. So they're gonna be 4-1 and playing who? High schoolers?
Right.
Playing Hampton and Howard? No disrespect. How they gonna be 4-1?
Yeah, shout out to Commander Land, man. Left hand up
Commanders,
people.
Man.
Hey, I got a good team, man. I
shout out Caleb, shout out Kadar.
Yeah.
Hey man, they hooping right now. I ain't gonna lie. As bad as that defense is, I repeat, it's one of the worst secondaries in football. And they're still figuring out ways to win games. They're running the football at a very efficient clip. Brian Robinson's having a hell of a year. Obviously, he was really good last year, but people felt they were being held back a little bit with Bieniemy and the way he was rotating the running backs. But Brian Robinson showing he's a true RB1 in this league with or without Austin Eckler behind him. Obviously, JD5 is playing at an amazing level right now. He's making efficient throws. He's not turning the ball over. Terry McLaurin's thanking God every day that they drafted him because he finally got a legit, consistent quarterback that can get him the ball. Trading away Jahan Dotson scared the living dice of me because I thought that was going to be the detriment to that offense because he can move the ball, move the chains in the middle of the field. He can play the slide and force defenses to dictate coverage. But they moved Jahan Dotson and haven't missed a beat. Their offense has been perfectly fine. McCaffrey's came in there and made plays for them. They're obviously making plays in the run game, like I said, and Austin Eckler's been a great third down back option for them as well. But Cliff Kingsbury and I think Coach Williams, the QB's coach, and Jaden they're in sync right now. They're on the same page. It doesn't matter what defense they're seeing. whether they're playing at home or on the road. And I know they played the Cardinals last week, and the Cleveland defense, which is supposed to be good, but on the road they're trash. They're playing at a very high level right now. And I know eventually they'll come back down to earth. I think that's why DG is saying they have to be 5, because they're exceeding everything that we never thought they could do. We expect Houston to be good. So them beating the Bills is not impressive to me. The Commanders being 4-1 is beyond impressive to me, because nobody in America would have took that bet. I don't care who they're playing. I would have thought they would have been 1-4, because why? It's the Commanders. So we have to put some respect on their name.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I did just want to mention the Texans because they had an impressive win, but I'll say this
Good
as
win.
far as
Good win too. That's a good win too.
I will say this as far as the Commanders are concerned. It's just one of those things where sometimes you got to come in and bring a whole new culture, and we know the things that they dealt with as far as the ownership is concerned. But the Jahan Dotson trade to me is a signal of, hey, coming into training camp, we hear the rumors of Jahan Dotson, maybe not being happy about what things were going as far as his role, maybe being, and whatever the discourse may have ended up being. But they traded him away to the Eagles, and Jahan Dotson is somebody that is extremely talented, even though, he just be running routes out there like cardio and doesn't actually get targets, regardless of who is out there as well with him. But it's a testament to what this team can do. And they added Luke McCaffrey. They kept De'Ami Brown, and they've been able to get really good production, not just from Terry McLaurin, but also those secondary targets, Zach Ertz included, Austin Eckler out of the backfield, because they have an offensive system in place that matches what their quarterback knows how to do. Jay Daniels having a lot of experience with college systems. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury runs essentially a college system now at the NFL, and it's worked. It's worked at an extremely high level. They've been able to work around what was an offensive line that had some issues as far as pass protection is concerned. Like you said, they're being physical in the run game. Brian Robinson has been great. Like you said, a legitimate running back one in fantasy as well from that standpoint. So you got to give them a whole lot of credit for what they've been able to put together. And look, defense struggling, but had a really good day versus the Browns, even though now we get into where the Commanders get tested, because they do have the Baltimore Ravens coming up next week. So they're going to be tested on both sides of the ball, certainly from that standpoint. But hey.
And the way that secondary for Baltimore looked, oh no.
I was going to say the Baltimore Ravens secondary is a little bit leaky. So it's not going to be an impossible challenge for Jay Daniels. They may end up being able to put something together from the standpoint. Yeah, absolutely. It should be a fun game with two guys. When you said the ball, Lamar Jackson, Jay Daniels. It's not. They are two guys that absolutely threaten the defenses in a multitude of ways. So as far as number 7 and below is concerned, we can go with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, we're not able to go on the road and get that win versus Texans. Buccaneers dropped the game to the Falcons on Thursday Night Football. Packers did beat the Rams. Cowboys beat the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Where do you guys want to roll? I'll mention the Falcons as well, since they did win on Thursday Night Football. Where do you guys want to roll for this number 17?
I guess we got it. The team that won, I guess. Yeah. The Bucks lost a shootout. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at Bucks being here or the Falcons.
I say Falcons.
Falcons, yeah.
They won. I'll give them Falcons. They won. Kirko threw for $5 billion on them. I gotta give it to Kirko.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, Falcons at 7. How you guys feel? Like I said, Bills, Buccaneers, Cowboys, as far as 8 is concerned. Packers as well, since they beat the Rams.
Cowboys was ugly, but to have all them injuries, no Mike, no D-Law, no B. Cooks, and they turned the ball over 3 times, and they still won on the road in Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh, too.
I got to get that to Dallas, bro. That's a hell of a win. I got to give them that. Game winner at the end, too. Shout out to Dak, bro.
Yeah, it's not like facing Mike Tomlin's never an easy task.
They should have lost that game. Yeah. You don't turn the ball over 3 times in the red zone and still figure out a way to win. So very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think I'm perfectly fine with that. I think we're going to slide the Bills at number 9. I don't think they should fall that far for losing to the Texans on the road beyond that. Who do you guys want to reward with the number 10 spot? Like I said, we got the Packers. I think that's kind of the Seahawks obviously lost, but the Seahawks made me mad personally because I believed them so much. Lose that game to the Giants. 49ers also lost a really frustrating game to the Cardinals.
That's so bad. They lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah, that was a terrible loss.
That was a terrible loss.
That's a bad loss. That's a bad. And
The Eagles were also on a bye week as well.
Yeah, they were on a bye. They may have to go Packers. They had a good win.
The Packers because they beat the
the Rams didn't really have nobody on the field, but you play who you play, they won. So I'll give it to them.
I think that's perfectly fair from that standpoint. So yeah, the Week 5 power rankings will be Vikings and Chiefs as the two undefeateds in the National Football League. Both of them going into a bye week, so they will stay undefeated at least the Week 6. So we could say they're probably going to end up being frozen in place there. Lions at number 3, Ravens at 4, Commanders with the gold star at 5, Texans, Falcons, Cowboys, Bills, and Packers to wrap up the back end of the power rankings from that standpoint. I will say really quickly. I think we've brought back enough former Chiefs wide receivers that it will not end up being Byron Pringle. And I believe in Brett Beach. I don't think Brett Beach is going to think that. I don't think that that Brett Beach is going to let things kind of simmer out there. I think we do make some type of wide receiver. It may not be an impact guy. I will say that. Yeah. It may be somebody that's further down the depth chart. I'm not going to deny that it could be possible, but I do think we go out and make some type of trade.
I highly agree. It probably won't be like a Deontay or Amari, even though that's who we want. But it literally will probably be someone that's on the back end of a depth. Like that's why I mentioned on our episode a couple of weeks ago, Donovan Peoples-Jones, a guy that's not playing a lot. It'll probably be a depth piece of anything because I think as fans, Darius Slayton. As fans, we get desperate for players and we want teams to make moves. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Veach and that team, they do not give a damn. They really don't care. As what we went through last year, they feel like they can win with anybody in the parking lot. That's how they feel. So we as fans, we want the best for the team, and we're right to feel that way. But the team and the GM, I'm telling you right now, they really don't care. They feel like they can win with anybody. They can grab somebody off a practice squad. If they brought back a Byron Pringle, they feel like they can win with that too. That's just how this team operates. They've been that way for years. So us as fans get desperate and we want the best for the team. The players and the coach, they feel like they can make it work with anything. They really just feel as long as you put somebody out there in a jersey, we'll figure out a way to make it work. So
yeah. People have to understand business is business. It takes two teams to tango and make a deal. So a lot of just fair warning, there's not a lot of teams that are willing to pick up the phone for the Chiefs at this point.
Heavy on that word two to tango, other side.
I don't mean us, because I think we are ready to tango, but I don't think we have a lot of dance partners at this point in time. So, Rob,
Bobby Trees.
I think
where he
he's playing still. I thought he got hurt for a second.
He's in Houston. Yeah, I think they need him because Tank Dell been hurt. So
yeah.
I don't think they're in a position to give up receivers.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be difficult. I mean, if you're a contending team to give up anybody, and that's why even like for example, Romeo Dobbs ended up getting suspended for a game. It sounds like they're going to try and make it work, but I don't expect them to try and trade him away.
DG, he said out he didn't want to play D-Mac. He said himself out. How you know Christian Watson not playing? You're going to get all the targets this week as the number one, and now you want to get in trouble? I got personal issues. Boy, you ain't want to play this week. It's okay. Because there ain't no way.
Well,
they said he was crying about not getting the ball or he wanted more targets, which I understand. The week the dude that's in front of you is not playing, now you want to have a bad attitude? That don't make sense. Because now you can get all the targets.
That's a fact.
And now all of a sudden this week, now he's back at practice. So.
In all honesty, like you guys said, I think they are gonna make a move. Like I don't think Brett Veach is just gonna sit on his hand and not add anybody to this room. But I just like CJ said, err with caution that it might not be the name you exactly want. So I'd be like I said, I'd be fine, perfectly fine if it's a Darius Slayton or I've heard some talks about Jalen Hyatt possibly being available too because they haven't been using him as well either. But yeah, I mean, we've done deals before with certain teams. I know we have certain connections, Panthers, Giants, things of that nature, especially on the NFC side. I think that's kind of where the Chiefs at this point are probably looking. I don't know if there's too many AFC teams that are, willing to pick up the phone unless the Browns are just willing to just give Amari Cooper away for basically nothing just to make him happy and
force his way out.
I really
want to leave.
Other than that, I don't see a lot of teams on the AFC side trying to help the Chiefs win Super Bowls at this point. So
It's going to be a body. They just want a body to get in the building, somebody that can come in, run reps, a guy that can give us a good look in practice to help be a depth guy. But they feel like, hey, what we have now is enough. And I feel like if the opportunity presents itself, like DG said, they'll take advantage of it and go get the guy if the deal makes sense. But overall, it's probably going to be a rotational guy that we don't see coming. That's probably what it's going to be. And it's probably going to be out of left field. If I had to think of another name, I mean, I would Trey Palmer. I would love him out of Tampa, but he's on a rookie deal. But after we saw Jahan Dotson get moved, I guess maybe teams are doing, dumb moves, but nobody trades with us. So, I mean, there's some guys out there that I would love to see, but I just don't see teams being stupid enough to trade in division like the Eagles and the Commanders, which still makes no sense to me. But we'll see. The trade deadline is November what, fellas? November
9th, I believe.
9th? That's a Tuesday, correct?
I think so.
That's a Tuesday. So we got a long way till then. We just had the bye week. Juju just had 100 yards. It's 2018 all over again. I'm going to tell you right now, Veach ain't going to be pressed to pick up that phone after what he just saw last night. We will add someone like DG said, but they not pressed like we are as fans. And in the front office, they like, bro, we don't care. We can go out there and run 4 tight ends for all we care.
I think another little wrinkle in this that's probably holding everything up is where Davante Adams is actually going to go.
Team's still asking for him. Yeah.
Teams are probably still calling and still kind of – I think every team at this point is holding out hope that the Raiders will come down on their price a little bit. And
second round pick.
Yeah, and eat most of that contract at this point like teams want them to. Raiders.
Do you trade our second round pick to go get him?
Duh.
Yes. Yes. Twice again. How many second round picks do you want?
How many you need?
How many you need? You need both of them? I give you both for Davante Adams.
That flight to New Orleans right now.
Look,
in other situations, I would probably be more hesitant, but I think the Titans, the third round pick is essentially going to be our second round pick. So I think because of where we're at as far as the wide receiver room, I think it makes perfect sense. If they truly, which they should do the best thing for them, if they truly want to get that second round pick, that's the best pick that they're going to be offered, because nobody else I don't think is going to step out other than the Jets out of desperation.
Let me throw my question back. If you're giving up that second round pick, are they eating most of his contract?
Yes.
Then
they can afford it. They what are they saving the money?
Send them over.
Please.
I would definitely
look,
Davante Adams is still a top 5 receiver in this league.
Pull up, Tay.
I don't care about that. And that's a guy like I was talking about Amari Cooper. Love what he can do. I think he's an excellent route runner. Davante Adams is definitely a guy I know I wouldn't have to worry about with terminology. Just get him the ball. Somehow, some way, run him out there. He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out.
Get him the ball. I think he's just that elite, especially with his route running, the kind of separation that he can get in this league. I think him and Pat together would be utterly lethal. It's a pipe dream at this point.
Definitely a pipe dream.
But yeah, I do. I kind of do believe that Veach probably did call and inquire, and see what the price was. I kind of think the Raiders did pick up the phone, and probably using the Chiefs is high leverage at this point, telling teams like, look, we'll send them to Kansas City if you don't do if you don't eat his contract, yeah. So it just is. It's the nature of the business. I don't blame them for doing that. I do it too if I was in their position at this point.
Try to get the most you can.
Yeah, I want the most I can out of it. So it is what it is. They're obviously not trading him here, but to add him to this team would be, they'd be scary.
It'd be a cheat code.
Yeah,
cheat code, bro.
Definitely scary hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Davante Adams would be an incredibly high impact guy. I don't think it's ever going to happen because it is the Raiders. But if they choose to do what's best for him, maybe there's a possibility that happens. They eat the money. Like I said, the Titans' third round pick is essentially going to be our second round pick based on how things work out. So I I don't know. Maybe Brett Veach would be willing to go ahead and push some chips in to the middle of the table from that aspect. And truthfully, like it is worth saying that it's a second round pick in nature, but the same way we always talk about, like the Chiefs tax is people talk about people just not wanting to do business with us, but it's also specifically that our picks are always going to be at the end of the round. So if that's the highest pick that they possibly can get, then guess what? You should probably just take it. But we'll see what ends up happening from that aspect. I do think that given the Jets' turmoil and where the Raiders have gotten at, it feels like an untenable situation with Devontae Adams. I don't think that he's going to make it through the week there. So it sounds like we probably have some resolution by that point, and hopefully that means that this weekend, at the very least, Brett Veach can use to try and secure whatever that next wide receiver is going to look like and be ready for the next round of preparation from that standpoint sooner rather than later for when he brings them in. So we'll certainly be talking about that as well. But really quickly, before we go ahead and get on out of here, we will be talking about next week as the Chiefs will be headed to the 49ers, which will be a very interesting Super Bowl rematch as 49ers are kind of going through some turmoil. We'll see how they deal with their game this upcoming week. But the Chiefs are on bye and chilling, which is nice to see as well. I did want to point out one thing before I get to the last piece of this. That Xavier Worthy long bomb that ended up turning into the PI, man. This should have been a touchdown because Xavier's even and he's leaving. Xavier's even and he's leaving.
Gotta let it go.
And he just holds on to him and trips him up so that it doesn't end up being completed. But man,
boy, it was scary, boy.
I really feel like coming out of the bye week, they're gonna have better chemistry. They're gonna look for those deep shots and they're gonna hook up on a few. And we know the 49ers generally like to play an aggressive brand of football as well. Hufanga unfortunately did go down with the injury. It does seem like he's going to be out for that game and certainly some time in general. 49ers have not been able to rush the passer this year, so the offensive line should be in a good spot. If you give help to whoever Nick Bosa is lined up against, you should have enough time for Patrick Mahomes to dice up that defense. So we'll be on the lookout for that as we preview next week's game from that standpoint. But before, obviously, we get into next week's game next week, I did want to say that we did have a little bit of review as we did debut our Tell the Truth trifecta for last night's game as well. And look, there was somebody to be made. Of course, I did point out that penalty that did happen that prevented what would have been
that
a catch.
That was it, dog. That was fucking it. Like I was so mad because I'm like,
that was the cash.
I literally told people to take that play because it's one play from Xavier. Like that's the 42 yards, 42 and a half, or 2 plays. He could probably cover that in 2 20-yard catches that will catch you on that. If Paulson Odivo just doesn't hold, we cash
right there.
Cash the whole play. But yeah, it is what it is. That's gambling.
We still went.
Win some, you lose some.
We still went 3 for 4. We still had a good day.
Yeah, it was
still had a good day.
Still ended up having a good day as well. And obviously, Tershawn Wharton got that big sack of Derek Carr. You knew that they were going to give extra help to Chris Jones, and they ended up sliding to him. And Tershawn Wharton continued with what is, I should say, a very good start to his season. Noah Gray made a few catches as well. And the other one I did want to point out, obviously, CJ told also we kind of go through whatever our plays are going to be. CJ had Kareem Hunt over his rushing yards, which, also would have hit as well. And look, we're going to give you guys this Tell the Truth trifecta every single week. And we'll have some winners on there for you guys to take advantage of. And again, if you are not in the Bet the House Discord, because there's even more winners in there, make sure you guys go ahead and check it out. That will be over there on CJ's profile as well. And we are not going to shy away in the future, even though I decided against it ultimately, from giving out plays if we feel like the other side has some good money. Juwan Johnson, I thought was a really good matchup. He would have hit as well. That was the other graphic that I had made before I switched it up to keep it all Chiefs for the first one. So, yeah, be on the lookout. We're going to have that every single game day that the Chiefs are playing. Obviously, nothing for this week. But moving forward from week 6 on, or week 7 on, I should say, we'll be talking about that every single week, and that'll be on Kingdom Cast Twitter account. With that all wrapped up, obviously be tuned. There'll be a Kingdom Cast Thursday night as well. Like I said, Bet the House Discord. Make sure you check out that for CJ. We'll see if there's probably going to be a stay scheming between now and the next game. I'll see what I want to do it on. I'm kind of interested in the offense, but also this defense has been playing so dang well. I think I might do a cornerback feature because of how spectacular they've been playing from that aspect too. So anything before we go ahead and get on out of here?
Let's go Royals. Let's go Royals.
Yeah, man.
Baby.
Shout out to
Kay's going to be rocking tomorrow night.
to the team
dig
across the
me?
parking lot, man.
You
They got
dig
a
me?
big game Wednesday, Thursday. So shout out to them. Oh, I was gonna say before we do it, Bet the House Sportsbook. This weekend, college is a great slate for college football. Like
beautiful
college
slate.
football, Saturday is
Beautiful
gonna be
slate.
phenomenal.
Oh
So
God.
tap
So
in
much
with us
money.
over there. I feel like we've been going a lot more crazy with college football as far as our hit rates over there. We'll be betting on over there. College seems to cash. They like hitting their stats and their props.
They play hard too.
Yeah, tap in with us, man. It's gonna be a great weekend to make some money somewhere somehow. So yeah, follow us. And the Discord link is also in my bio as well, too. So if you need to find it, go to my Twitter, click on it,
Dig. Tap in.
tap in with us, man.
Absolutely, man. All right. I think that'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. For DG, for CJ, yours truly, D-Mac, man.
Go Royals! Let's go
Royals! I want positive things to happen for you guys, so this is very difficult because I don't want y'all to win shit. Let's go ahead and get out of here, man. Everybody enjoy your night. Go Chiefs!